Hi, hello, welcome to Man with a Mentor. I am the man, your host, Matthew Barnard, and you may be wondering what a show called Man with a Mentor is about. And basically, it's about people finding a passion for what they want to do with their lives and doing everything they can to ensure that they have a great and successful career at something that they love, right? It's important. And today I have somebody fantastic on the show. His name is Dakota Kondor. So welcome.
Hi.
Thank you. I'm going to describe something about you. I'm going to say Dakota Kondor is an animator, editor with a specialty in After Effects for visual effects departments. In high school, he won a Blue Chip Award for news production and discovered a talent and passion for video making, and later attended the University of Cincinnati Blue Ash and CCM to further study media production facets. Is that all good?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And what does CCM stand for?
CCM is the College Conservatory of Music.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes, most of what they teach is music, but they also have a media production department, and that's pretty much the focus on the UC campus.
I'm just wondering, what was that first little inkling, the first little thing that popped in your brain that made you think this could be something I want to do? Let's go back to when it first kind of hit you.
So when I was in high school, there was this news program called Braves Beat that showed weekly, and that was the first exposure I had to people my age doing video projects, which made it become a reality for me. And I took video classes and got into the class after that, which gave me the first insight as to I can do this and it's not as difficult as it seems from the outside.
All right. So would you say that there was someone who really mentored that group of people, or you, and put you on the path? Who was in charge?
Yes. The person in charge was Dennis Dupps, who started every video program at that high school and just had a passion for leading people to video careers and news and whatever else, and takes great pride in people being on his wall of fame of whoever ended up doing something with media, who started with Braves Beat and stuff like that. So I would say he is easily my mentor.
Oh, awesome. I'm just wondering, do you think as you go along in your career, do you think you will try and get more and more into video effects and things that are for entertainment? Or do you like the part that's maybe more stable, maybe not quite as creative, that is news and sports? Or do you think you'll flow between those two, or what's your focus?
So I've been bouncing around a lot in VFX in general, and as fancy as movie effects sound like, a lot of that is just covering up equipment that happens to be in a shot, or doing silly little blurs or things like that. So there's a lot more build up than one would think in the field, and there's actually very little that I do that's directly related to fireballs or lasers or stuff like that. I find as long as I'm working on a project I can tell people care about, it's really enjoyable, whether that be news or media or movies. A lot of the stuff that I've done that I consider really technically impressive are the things you'll never notice, which I consider the sign of good VFX, like good audio work. You won't notice if it's done well. And
I'm just wondering, was there ever anyone who was worried that you were going into an artistic field and that might be a challenge for finding work, or that you might struggle in financial ways? Or, you know what I mean? Like parents, they're watching your back, but they want you to go into something that might be safe, but you just did your own thing. Did you get advice? Did you hear things or ignore things?
So, fortunately, there have been a lot of artists in my family already who were more traditional artists who still managed to find a living, and my family already knew it was possible. And they were just supportive through the entire process, but they wanted to make sure I knew the right people, I had people to talk with, and I knew the reality of the career. They helped me explore other career options and stuff like that all through high school. And they just found UC to be a very stable option because it wasn't as expensive as other art schools. So they thought as long as it's not too expensive and you're not digging yourself into a money pit, you'll probably be fine because you'll still make connections and stuff like that.
Right. I'm wondering, how do you go about keep finding a workflow in that particular field of visual effects, animation, editing, and all that? Like, is it easier than it seems, or are you have you figured it out for yourself? Or are you constantly learning new ways to develop context and find work for yourself?
Just talk with people, let them know you're looking for work, even if it seems like they'll never have a use for it, and just have people in your corner who know you're looking for stuff. And you never know who knows who, and you never know who happens to know somebody who has a passion project and they need somebody on. And as much as it might suck to work on something you're not as passionate about, fluffing up your portfolio with anything that you can attach your name to does help you look like you have more experience and helps you find more work. So there have been times where it's been difficult to find stuff because there is no easy way to find it, but a lot of it's just word of mouth because most people out there also don't know where to find stuff.
Oh, right. Do you think things are improving in the technical fields of visual effects, animation, and editing in Ohio with the number of projects that are coming in? Because it used to be like if a movie every decade came to Ohio, it was like a shocker. And now it seems to be happening with much more frequency. So had you thought about, I'm going to have to move to a bigger market, or do you feel content at the moment of staying where you are and continuing to grow and develop your skills and stay here, or look around, or what's your plan for?
So the last project I worked on, I didn't have to meet the person at all. Everything we exchanged was online. All of our communication was through email or text. I typed up a daily update thing whenever I worked on it. He happened to also be in Cincinnati, but he might as well have been in San Francisco. I've never felt a real push to have to move out of state, but at the same time, I'm in the post-production side of things. I understand production is not as forgiving. To be there in person, either you drive long hours or you just live wherever the action is. I know that there's been some more projects coming into Ohio, but I have no idea where they're sourced or where the post-production's done, but I do like how more stuff seems to be coming our way as it's being recognized more and more as a potential film source.
Right. Yeah, I think in terms of post-production, you might be lucky that you can kind of do it from anywhere, whereas probably pre-production and the planning of the hiring of the top people is still probably going to happen in the most major markets where the biggest casting crew is located at. So that's a bonus for you. So I'm just wondering also, in terms of technology, it seems like things keep improving and changing all the time. How do you keep up with it? I mean, in the last 10 years since you've been in high school and beyond, have you noticed that it's evolving rapidly, or is it you're on top of it?
So the big talking point that everyone has is AI, but the more interesting thing inside the film industry is Da Vinci, because the premier product for movies and stuff for the longest time was Adobe. And Adobe was very comfortable at the top, and it felt no fire to make any big changes or improvements. But DaVinci has moved from exclusively coloring to more editing and are now including VFX in their program. And that's on their free program. Instead of needing those three things or more in separate packages for Adobe, you get it all for free with tutorials and stuff. And then they have a pro package that does more. And that's the sort of silent war that no one's really paying attention to in the film industry.
If you could give them like a piece of advice in terms of getting started or getting in the right school or picking a school or how to keep up with the tech, like what would be some big advice points that you would give to someone who you were 10 years ago?
So my first piece of advice is YouTube's an excellent resource. I still use it to find tips on stuff. Never feel too proud or like you're going to embarrass yourself by needing to look something up, because most people didn't know it starting out. A lot of people don't necessarily need to go to a fancy school to learn stuff, because a lot of the technical skills I developed were after I left college. Yeah, so there's definitely learning from your mistakes and growing from that, but I think it's also the best thing that can happen is falling on your face the first time and realizing, okay, this is a mistake, but I'll never make it again. So it's just a matter of not being afraid to screw up.
Right. So do you think there's a path to becoming a post-production person without college level classes? Or like, because how would you then network if you're not like at least meeting other students and other teachers and just working on things that they're giving to you to create that portfolio? But I guess you're saying you can create your own portfolio if you know other talented people.
It's just a lot of reaching out to people, a lot of, if you want to start with visual effects, just like have a video of you holding your hand out or something, and like draw a fireball shooting out of it or something. Just start doing stuff to learn the technical things. Look up something you're interested in learning on YouTube and shoot some footage and edit it together or whatever. Doesn't matter if you have a good camera or anything, just learn it and reach out to people and say, hey, I know a bit, I want to learn more, because there's always a way to get that stuff.
Right, right. I mean, I feel like if you say, I'm trying to learn more, who's going to be like, that damn guy, he's wanting to learn, you know? So I think that's a good approach, because, I mean, it shows you're constantly evolving and learning and growing, and, you know, someday you'll be the master, and then people will, like, just be like, come here, Dakota, come to my team. You're in your 20s now. How do you see your career evolving? Like, what is your favorite thing out of the animation editing or visual effects to do right now? Do you have a favorite? And do you see yourself going down like a particular road, or are you open to just everything that comes your way? Or do you think by the time you're in your 30s, you'll want to hit a lane?
So I've been trying to steer my career towards visual effects because I just find it an interesting part of the process, and not a whole lot of people are focusing there because they all want to do the editing. I see myself exploring audio more deeply because that's a much more shallow pond of talent. So hopefully in my 30s, I'm able to direct it a little more.
Right. I always think in terms of audio. When I hear the word audio, I think of like the music track and composing the music to like swell as the action swelling, or, you know, but it's not just that, it's all the audio effects. I mean, half of the time what you hear in movies isn't actually what they pick up when they're shooting. It's all kinds of other effects. Is that something that you're interested in or jumping into?
Yes. The few audio artists that I've known, I've always thought that Foley is the most entertaining part. It's the most fun you can have because you get to play with fabric, you get to screw around with things until you get it to sound right, and then you adjust the pitch and stuff like that.
If you want to tell people where they can find like samples of your work.
My website, which contains all my portfolio pieces, is dakmyname.com, which is dakmyname.com, one word. And that should have everything and ways to contact me if anyone's looking for work.
So I just want to say thank you. And if you want to see Dakota Kondor and his work, you can go to dakmyname.com because he is a very cool young animator, editor, and visual effects guy. So check him out, and I appreciate you listening to another episode of Man with a Mentor. Thank you. Bye.